Special thank you to the channel members for supporting the content that I create. Today, I have a genuine question I would like to propose. Is anybody actually genuinely excited for Zenless Zone Zero? That's not me throwing shade at the game or trying to be mean, but I genuinely have to ask that question because I have seen almost nobody talking about the game. And those of you that are talking about the game are only talking negatively about it to the point where I feel as though that question is valid at this point. That all being said, I'm about to pile on the negativity because I have been keeping a very close eye on this game for quite a hot minute at this point. It mostly has to do with the fact that when I first came into the Genshin community, I heard of Zenless Zone Zero about a year later, and I've been following the game ever since because, hey, you know, Genshin Impact was made by MiHoYo. I like MiHoYo, so if they make another game, chances are that game's gonna be really good. I went into Honkai Star Rail with the same logic and I ended up getting disappointed, and I also went into some of their other games like Honkai Impact 3rd with the same logic and also got disappointed. So at this point, I've been a lot more skeptical, to the point where I decided to do my own research and play the game for myself. Unfortunately, the game is still in closed beta tests and I wasn't able to get access. However, because other people were able to play the game for me, I have been able to gather quite a bit of information on this game and I have very low expectations. But before I get into why I think that, real quick, gotta cover what Zenless Zone Zero is. It's an RPG style beat 'em up game made by HoYoverse, which is the same company that made Genshin and Honkai Star Rail. And considering their track record was currently 1 and 3, I already had very low expectations. But hey, you know, I believe in playing a game first before you cast judgment. That being said, there's a lot of things to cast judgment on, so let's go over the very first thing. I genuinely believe that Zenless Zone Zero is a combination of all of the worst aspects of every other game they have made put into one. And that is a very bold, very negative thing to say at a minute and 50 seconds into the video, but I genuinely need to start with that because this is not a good game from the looks of it. So let's go over the basics. First things first, the gacha mechanic is very bad. And I know, you know, oh, gacha game has bad gacha. No shit. I don't usually bitch about gacha games because I play a lot of them, and me personally, I like the random aspect. However, this takes it above and beyond the Call of Duty here. So let's compare Genshin Impact to, I don't know, this game. So Genshin has two gachas. They have a weapon banner and they have a character banner, right? The character banner has a 50-50 system and then a guarantee system, which is pretty nice. It allows you to guarantee yourself whatever character you want. And sometimes when you have enough primo gems and you have enough resources, you go for the weapon as well. That's two whole banners where you can sink your items into of premium currency or otherwise in order to get something you really like. How many banners does Star Rail have? Well, they also have two. They have a weapon banner and a character banner. Of course, both games have a standard banner, but we don't count that. We're only talking about limited time stuff. Okay, how many banners does Zenless Zone Zero have? Well, they have three banners. They have a character banner, a weapon banner, and a companion banner. And to those of you that are confused by what a companion banner is, allow me to draw a comparison to another HoYoverse game, Honkai Impact 3rd. Now, I know most of you haven't played Honkai Impact 3rd, so allow me to fill you in real quick. In Honkai Impact 3rd, they have this thing called an elf, and what an elf does is they synergize with your main character in order to help you do more damage. It's very useful because it just does more shit. Think of it like a second weapon slot that you can individually upgrade apart from everything else in order to deal more and more damage. Okay, well, they have that system in place, which puts a grand total of 3 gachas. The pity system is a lot more comparable to that of Star Rail and Genshin, so that's cool, right? Yeah, not really. See, a lot of people are brushing over this by saying, oh, well, they give you more pulls. But that doesn't really change the fact that overall the system is far more scummy. Yeah, sure, you get a 10 pull every week and you get a pull every day for logging in, but if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, in order for you to max out a character, it'll take about double the investment as it would for something like Genshin or Star Rail. So at the end of the day, you're really just getting fucked over. But a lot of people won't see it like that because they're getting more rewards, and to them, that makes it look like the game is overall more generous. It's a lot like what Star Rail does, where Star Rail will give you 10 free pulls every update if you log in, and people are like, oh, we get more pulls, we get more resin, you know, they get more resin overall. But if you think about it logically and use statistics, you'll realize that, yeah, it doesn't really matter because 10 pulls in Star Rail will not take you as far as 10 pulls in Genshin, and 260 resin in Star Rail will not take you as far as 260 resin in Genshin because of the way the mechanics are set up. It's the same thing. It's a system that demands far more out of you as a player while giving you less rewards overall. But hey, I don't mind the gacha being bad if the gameplay is good. So what's the gameplay look like? Well, once again, it's drawing a lot of notes from Honkai Impact 3rd. You see, the way Honkai Impact 3rd works is you are given a set amount of stamina. Think of this like resin from Genshin Impact, or what people think resin's actually like in Genshin. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't have resin, I can't play Genshin. But at the end of the day, there's still a massive open world you can explore. Honkai Impact 3rd, on the other hand, they don't have that. If you don't have their resin equivalent, you literally cannot play the game. How do you play the game if you have resin though? Well, it's very simple. You click on a level, you go to a hub world, click on what join you want to go to, and then boom, you're in a game. You run around, you kill a designated amount of enemies, kill whatever boss spawns at the end of that, and then you get kicked back to the hub world and you go back and you do the same thing over again. And it's not that there's anything inherently wrong with that system. It's worked in the past, it could work now. It just feels very much so dated, considering most people, especially Star Rail and Genshin players, which is their core audience, like gacha games so they can play all the time, even if they're not getting anything done. But hey, I will give credit where credit is due, because the game does look very, very pretty. It's very well animated, very stylish. A lot of the animations are flashy and cool, but at the end of the day, that's all they really are. They're flashy and they're cool. It's a lot of style, but not a lot of substance, which is most gacha games. It's not a criticism against specifically this, but I just expected more from a company like MiHoYo that has made just a ton of amazing games. Okay, well, they made one amazing games and a few mid games, but I just expected more from them. This very much feels like a cash grab game, and we'll get into that in a second later. Now we need to talk about the building system. So unlike Genshin, which has a weapon, a main character, and then an artifact set with 5 pieces, they decided that they were going to cobble together Honkai Star Rail system, Genshin system, and Honkai Impact 3rd system. You'll have a character, an elf, a weapon, and 6 artifact slots, which you can do a 2-piece, 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 a 4-piece, 2-piece, a 1-piece, 2-piece, 2-piece, or whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, there's a lot of combinations here. This is very bad. This is the same criticism that I gave Star Rail, but I'm gonna give it here too. The artifact system in Genshin is really bad, and they're both built off of the same backbone. Essentially, your chances of getting an artifact that's actually good is around the same odds of getting a shiny Pokemon, which is 1 in 8,190 or some bullshit like that, which in and of itself is not that big a deal, but you need to remember, you need to get 6 of these pieces. And if you want to play the game optimally, you're going to need a 2-piece, a 2-piece, a 2-piece, a 4-piece, and a 2-piece, so at least 2 of a kind, which is very, very hard to do. I can already hear the same argument coming out that a lot of Star Rail players make, is like, oh, you get more resin, and the resin refills faster, but that doesn't really mean anything, because again, if you look at it statistically overall, yes, you get more resin, but because how much harder it is for you to level up and get the good pieces you need, the overall value of the resin you get is so significantly diminished that it really doesn't matter in the end. Who cares that you get 3 extra runs a day? That's 3 whole runs and your 1 in 8,000 chance of getting something good. And it could take, yeah, significantly longer or significantly shorter to get that piece, but at the end of the day, it's all RNG, and adding more layers on top of what was already a very predatory system is not very cool. And overall, my final criticism with the game is it legitimately looks, feels, and plays like a Honkai Impact 3rd clone. I'm sorry, it just does. And that really worries me because Honkai Impact 3rd had a lot of problems. And for those of you Honkai Impact 3rd players out there, hi. I'm one of you. I lost my account after 3 years of playing, but I put a significant amount of time, and it genuinely feels that Zenless Zone Zero is meant to be the next Honkai Impact 3rd, and there's a few reasons why that worry me. The main reason is Honkai Impact 3rd is a whale bait game. A lot of Honkai players would probably disagree with me on that, but I'm gonna say a fact real quick. The only in-game content in Honkai Impact 3rd is a ranked competitive system where you need to go from room to room, kill a shit ton of enemies, and then you'll get a placement depending on the amount of points you get, which is determined on how much damage you do, how long it took you to do it, did you kill the final boss or not, how many buffs did you kill, how many enemies to kill, etc, etc, etc. In order to get the max amount of points, the amount of investment you need is gargantuan. Even if you were a high-end day one player that has logged in every single day, you can still get shit stomped because 90% of the community that still plays 3rd are people that have been playing since day one or whales. And that in and of itself is not a problem, but the rewards you get from this competitive mode is basically all the rewards you're gonna get in third. So basically, if you perform like shit, you don't get the rewards you need to make your account better. And those who have a good account that perform well will continue to perform well and continue to make their account better, so it becomes impossible for them to catch up. And most of Honkai Impact 3's endgame content is like this. Now, again, Honkai Impact 3 players will probably disagree, but again, this is just how it is. This is a fact. And that really worries me because it genuinely feels like this game is supposed to be another Honkai Impact 3, and if they do that, chances are that competitive system is going to come into play. And with all of the points that I brought up earlier about how predatory the new system feels and how much worse it is for the general player base's happiness, I am very concerned that the end product is definitely going to be something that targets whales and tries to harpoon them in very early, and I don't want anything to do with that. It doesn't help that the overall gameplay is very competitive and repetitive, and on top of that, the artifact system is bad, the gacha system is bad. It just doesn't look good. It feels like MiHoYo has realized that no matter what they make at this point, people will enjoy it, so they're just making very lame games that nobody really wants to play and hoping to cash in on that, because at this point they have such a dedicated audience that people are going to play it and defend it no matter what. Star Rail proved that, Genshin Impact proved that, and now they're going to go even farther into the land of greed. Thankfully though, it feels like that's not working. I've noticed a lot of larger content creators and smaller content creators like myself talk about how predatory this game is and how overall meh it looks, and that makes me happy. For the love of God, you know, keep doing that and they won't do this again. That all being said, am I still gonna play Zenless Zone Zero on the first day? Of course. You know, unlike most people that shit on games, I genuinely think that you should at least give them a try before you shit on them, the only exception being League of Legends. Fuck that game. So I will give it a try on day one. We'll see if it's good. If it's alright, I might play for a little bit longer, might make a few videos on it. If it's shit, I'm just gonna drop it. I'll make a video about how it's shit, and that'll be that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you like the video, like. If you dislike it, dislike it. If you really like me, go and subscribe. See y'all in the next video. Stay safe, everyone, and peace. And I'll be getting back to regular uploads soon. I've just been busy with finals.